Yo, what is going on guys, Flashverse here and welcome back to another video on The Flash Season 8. And for today's video, I'll be going over some of the questions you guys have sent me in regards to The Flash Season 8, and I'll pretty much be breaking them down and explaining most of them as best as I can. Now, I apologize in advance for those who do not get their questions answered. There have been much more questions than I have originally anticipated, and if I added every single comment in this one video, it would have been like a 30 minutes long video. But I will be doing more of these types of videos so you guys could potentially get your questions answered in the next Q&A Flash Season 8 related video. But before I go over anything, however, you guys don't forget to drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel so you are aware of more Arrowverse content coming your way. Okay, so the first question comes from Dev Chahal and they ask, do you think we could get both Matt Letcher and Tom Cavanagh play the Reverse Flash together in Season 8 or potentially Season 9? Now, this is a really good question, and I would say it would be really cool to see. I definitely do not think that they will be sharing the screen together because that will cause a lot of issues in canon. For example, if Matt Letcher is to return as the Reverse Flash, it would be a younger version of Bart Thawne before he even killed Nora Allen. So if they ever shared the screen together, the past Thawne would be wondering why his future self is wearing someone else's face, because Tom Cavanagh's Reverse Flash is wearing the face of pretty much Harrison Wells, and Thawne would be wondering why that's the case. And it would cause all these sorts of timeline issues, so that's why I do not think that they would share the screen together. However, if you are talking about them just being on the same season together, that is very much possible. Now take this with a massive grain of salt, but we did obviously have Tom Cavanagh returning to the role of the Reverse Flash during Armageddon, and now he's obviously locked up. Eric Wallace, however, did confirm that Armageddon would not be the last that we will be seeing of the character of the Reverse Flash. In fact, he has some sort of a storyline for the back half of The Flash Season 8. And yes, he could be talking about Tom Cavanagh over here, but for those who didn't know, last month, or it could have been the month before, Matt Letcher was actually in Vancouver, and we do know that through various Instagram posts which he made during that time, he was not on set, he was just there in Vancouver. However, the fact that he just randomly flew to Vancouver could suggest that he could have potentially filmed some Reverse Flash stuff. I'm not saying that he did, because that would just be wrong, because we don't know. However, do not keep your hopes up, because there is a huge chance that he was just in Vancouver for the sake of it. But again, as I said, the fact that he's in Vancouver could mean that he might have filmed some Reverse Flash stuff. But as I said, do not keep your hopes up about that. But the next question comes from Servant Ozkilik, and they ask, in the Season 5 finale, Nora was getting erased from existence, and Thawne said, you need to get in the negative speed force because it's immune to any timeline changes. So why did he go to Barry when he could have gone in the negative speed force? And I'm assuming you were talking about Armageddon episode 5 over there when he attacked CCPD and he asked for Barry's help. So yeah, that is true, and indeed, the negative speed force does keep a speedster immune to timeline changes, which is why this whole Thawne situation in Armageddon is pretty messy. The only reasonable explanation I could give you is that the Eric Wallace and the writers just messed up, and then they just messed with what's canon just for the sake of the plot, just to drive the plot forward and basically execute this whole storyline, which is something I do not like. I do not like how they keep changing these different things which have already been established. But yeah, they've already done it, so yeah, I don't really have like a proper explanation for it. This is pretty much the best I could give you right now. But the next question comes from Joshi M07, and they ask, do you think that there will be a Speedster Villain this season? Now, here's the thing, right? If we are going to have a Speedster Villain, I want them to do it right. I do not want to end up with something as disappointing and as wasted as the Godspeed storyline. I would want something proper and something which we could all actually enjoy. I would say it is possible after the Interlude Part 2, because after Interlude, we will be getting 2 more graphic novels. So this is a season where we'll be having 3 graphic novels and 1 interlude. So obviously the first graphic novel was Armageddon, and then we're going to have the interlude, and then we're going to have graphic novel number 6 and 7. So we could get some sort of a Speedster Villain for the back half of the season. They did obviously tease this Lady in Red during Armageddon, And make of that what you will, because I have no idea who this could be. But we do know that she is a speedster, and we know that she's a speedster because Batwoman gives Iris this Speed Force dampening gun. So this lady in red is definitely a speedster. So this could have potentially been a teaser for her becoming the main villain of this season for one of the graphic novels. But honestly, I don't know. But the next question comes from Rahul Jain, and they ask, how will the Reverse Flash get his speed back? Is there any chance of Eddie, who would be the main villain after this crossover? Now, honestly, I do not have a reasonable answer for this question, and it is not that I don't have any theories about it, because you guys know that I do. But what makes this one so hard is that to theorize one which actually makes sense from the situation Thawne is at right now. He's sent to Argus and he's literally locked up behind bars. So there is no way he could just build something from scratch, because that's impossible. He has no access to a lab or anything like that because he's literally locked up behind bars in Argus, which is why I really don't know. We do know that he will have to create some sort of a negative artificial speed force in some way, or he will need to find a way to essentially bring back and suck the negative speed force which has been extracted from him. But in order to do that, he will need to escape prison first. I would guess that Bloodwork would break him out because they are both locked up in Argus, whereas Godspeed is locked up in Iron Heights, so they're in two different places. And it just makes more sense if it's Bloodwork which breaks him out. So it is possible that Bloodwork could break him out, but I don't know. There is also a chance that he could potentially manipulate the timeline so that he's able to get his speed back in some way. But again, that could be an overestimate as well. In regards to the second part of your question, I will link it to Speed Force's question, who asks, will Cobalt Blue ever be introduced? Now, personally for me, if Eddie Thawne is to ever come back as a main villain, it has to be Cobalt Blue. Even if Eddie Thawne just returns in general, it has to be as Cobalt Blue. This would be the biggest missed opportunity ever in the whole show if they do not do anything with this storyline. It would just be such a huge missed opportunity. We do know that Eddie Thawne's past self from 2014 will be returning for episode 6. But in regards to us seeing Eddie Thawne as some sort of a big bad this season, it is possible because, as I said, we are having 2 graphic novel main villains this season, and he could potentially end up being the main villain for one of them. But I don't think it will be for season 8. I do hope that we do get Cobalt Blue, but I don't know if it will be for this season. Maybe they introduced Eddie Thawne back for episode 6 and they did this whole time travel episode with Bart and Nora, so the fans will go like, oh right, okay, yeah, Eddie Thawne, this guy was in season 1. And it's essentially to make the audience remember that he's still there, and maybe they have something set up for him in the near future. So maybe that's why they did this type of episode where they bring Eddie Thawne back and they do this whole time travel episode. But yeah, I guess we'll have to wait and see. But the next question comes from Mustafa Bosen, and he asks, is this suit perfect in your opinion for the Flash, or is there any room for improvement? Now, personally for me, I would say that this suit we have right now, especially with the addition of the gold boots, is perfect as it is. Not only is it incredibly comic book accurate, but they have managed to work it so well to such an extent where I would actually consider this suit perfect. If we are to ever end up with a final suit upgrade, because I really don't want them to change this suit because I think it's great, but if we're ever to end up with a final suit upgrade, I would want to see the new Reverse Flash suit design with the colors of the Flash suit. I think that would look pretty awesome. But the next question comes from Ambrose Ral, and he asks, does Impulse Point cause Iris's time sickness or not? And the answer is no. Iris had her time sickness being established in late season 7. She had established in pretty much season 7 episode 15, although we've never seen Iris in that episode, but we did get that reveal that she has some sort of time sickness during episode 16 of season 7, which is way before Impulse Point even happened, because Impulse Point would pretty much be episode 6 of season 8. So no, in fact, it has no correlation at all. The only thing which is pretty much erased with this whole Iris time sickness storyline is what took place in Armageddon, because technically that storyline never happened, so Iris never got to undo her treatments or anything like that. So she still has the time sickness, but Dayon in this new timeline from after episode 4, she still has the treatments being added on her. She didn't get them taken away because technically Armageddon never happened because Barry restored the timeline. But yeah, she does still have the time sickness. However, it's not caused by what Bart and Nora do during episode 6. And speaking of Bart and Nora, the final question comes from Chris Jones, and he asks, will Nora and Bart come back? Well, to answer this question, we do know that Bart, Nora, and Jay Garrick will be returning for episode 6 of The Flash season 8, which is known as Interlude Part 2. But then Jordan Fisher does need to go to Broadway for a while. In fact, he's probably there right now. And it wouldn't really make sense if Nora returns without Bart. So I think that if they're ever to return, they need to return together. And I would only say that it would most likely happen towards the end of the season. It just mostly depends on how long Jordan Fisher stays on Broadway for, because I have no idea how long Broadway is or anything like that. But they are most likely to return if they want to, when the two actors are available. And obviously, if it fits the storyline as well. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. If you guys have enjoyed the video, please give a like and subscribe. Be sure to tell me in the comment section down below if you guys want me to do more of these types of videos. And yeah, I will see you guys in my next video.